Hey everybody, Ed here with the Digital Digest, and today I wanted to give you guys the full review, the digitally digested segment for the Sony ECM-XYST1M. Now this is an external microphone that Sony has designed to work with essentially any of their camera products that support the relatively new multi-interface shoe that's been incorporated into their Alpha line, CyberShot line, NEX line, such as the NEX6, of course their VG camcorders, and traditional handycams. Do make sure, this is my first note to all of you, that it does have that shoe, because otherwise you're not going to be able to use this out of the box natively. For example, the RX1 does have that shoe, but unfortunately, in my experience in testing, it is not compatible, oddly enough, which doesn't make a lot of sense. Not sure if Sony needs to issue a firmware update, which I'm not saying we will necessarily even see, but that's something I want to note in advance before even giving you guys a full review of this product. So essentially, you want to make sure that you purchase this from a retailer with a very friendly return policy, because if you do purchase this for something like the RX1, you're going to be sorely disappointed, which I'll show you guys in a moment, because it just registers as not being compatible. Now, as far as whether or not this is worth the $150 or more dollars, depending on which retailer you do purchase it from, I could say that really comes down to your actual needs. I've done some thorough testing, and with a camera like the NEX VG30, which doesn't really warrant an external microphone of this nature, it still did prove that at least it would solve the simple problem that many of you are out to solve, which is eliminating any recording of on-body movement from your hands, or of course power zooms. So if you're looking to get rid of those traditional annoyances that come with using onboard audio in cameras across Sony's line, this will accomplish it. Now do keep in mind this is a two-channel stereo mic, and it does have the ability to go from 0 to 120 degrees, which you can control. And that is significant, because for those of you who don't understand what that means, basically all it is that you're going to want to use the 0 setting when you're trying to do something focused right in front of you, interview, conversation. The 120 is really to get that wide spectrum where you're going to, let's say, be at a concert and you want to get a full range of audio rather than a focused point. So that's really what the 0 to 120 is all about. As you can see right now, I've got the windscreen on. If you missed my unboxing, you're really only going to want to use this when you're outdoors, because the whole idea is to eliminate wind noise, of course, which is really only going to be outdoors unless you are in a highly air-conditioned environment or fans are blowing. So really, you'll only need this for outdoor use. As far as the mic out, well, that's what a lot of you are out to get. If you own something like the NEX6, which has no microphone input, that's where this is going to allow you to basically hook up a microphone. Same applies to camcorders. It's very clearly stated right in Sony's instructions that if you use the supplied cable that came with this, again, go ahead and jump back to my unboxing if you want to see it, that will allow you to hook this up to inputs on camcorders that have mic inputs, things of that nature. You can adjust more levels, just a whole host of flexibility that wouldn't traditionally be offered by an external microphone, especially the external mics that Sony has made in the past. And because this can be used with so many cameras from their lineup, even though sadly, as I mentioned before, it does not work with the RX1, as I learned through experience, it still, as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, is going to solve that very common problem of on-body noise. Now, in my test, this did not best the quad capsule array microphone found on the VG30, but I didn't expect it to, because as I mentioned in my unboxing, the VG series of camcorders, handycams, which of course are interchangeable, really NEX camcorders, have, in my opinion, the best onboard sound of any camcorder on the market, but they should. They're very, very expensive. The bodies started around $1,800 US. As far as the feature right here, you can see normal and low cut. For those of you who are not aware what Sony's referring to, really very simple. Essentially, norm is exactly what it is. If you're looking for normal, natural sound, that's the setting you want to leave it on. If you're in a very windy environment where you need to cut that wind vibration and all of those negative externalities that often come with recording outside, that's when you want to go ahead and just switch over to the low cut, which will, as I mentioned, reduce that additional unwanted noise as much as possible. Very easy to take the windscreen on and off. It just slips right on, as you can see. And as I mentioned, you've got a stereo microphone array here, and essentially it will serve the purpose. There's no question if you're looking to best your audio experience from even the new HX50V, which is about to come out, or something like the NEX6, or any other future NEX bodies that will support the multi-interface shoe, this is going to accomplish it. But again, keep in mind, it's not going to best something, as I just mentioned, like the VG's audio quality, because quite frankly, that quad capsule array is just best in class. Now, as far as what it actually looks like on a camera, even though it does not work with this camera, I'm going to show you guys right now. You just simply want to slide it right onto the hot shoe right there, and then as you can see right here, it tells you in order to lock it, you need to just turn this until it's tight. You don't want to go too tight, and then you're secure. Now, certainly not the most attractive look, but Sony made sure to make this black because, as many of you NEX users out there already know, the previous generation of microphone, which was not part of the multi-shoe interface system, but a proprietary hot shoe that we found on basically the first gen NEX cameras all the way up to the current 5R, was silver. So if you had a black body, you ended up with a clash. Sony notes on their product marketing, you do have more of a professional look now with the black. I agree on that, but there's no question that when you have it on a camera like the RX1, even though it doesn't work, so you really shouldn't even have it on here yet, but something like the NEX6, it's going to look a little bit silly, but if audio quality is your primary concern, then this look shouldn't bother you at all. So as you can see, what's great about it right now is I hold the camera, even though it does not work with this, but imagine this on an NEX6 or what have you, it's not going to pick up any of that traditional additional noise, as I mentioned, from your hands moving, which you would on something like the RX1, even though it doesn't work, because the microphone arrays are generally right here at the top of the camera. And I know many of you, like myself, many times, have shot what you think is a great video to then get home and find out that accidentally you moved a thumb, an index finger over the microphone and ended up essentially ruining the audio from your video. So that's really what this is going to do best. I won't say that the audio quality is going to blow away the onboard audio of Sony's camera lineup, because something like the NEX lineup does have very good onboard audio considering it's built in, as do many of Sony's CyberShot cameras, but this is going to make sure that none of those videos get ruined, and you have, at least by your own hands, or the power zoom built into something like the HX50V that's about to launch, which is the first CyberShot to have the multi-shoe other than this RX1, but really they are not in the same class, clearly. The update to the RX100, I imagine, will also incorporate this, so this will be another great accessory for something like the RX200 or whatever Sony ends up designating that new model. But I'm just going to power this up right now so you guys can see that as soon as I power up the camera, it should tell us the accessory, yeah, as you can see, is not supported. So I was shocked to see that. However, not a big deal, because I did have plenty of other cameras to test it with, and there will be a sample up. If it's not already up, you can look for it, where I will give you guys a clear demonstration of the performance of this microphone in comparison to the onboard audio of the VG30. I did keep that sample in stereo rather than using the 5.1, because after all, it would not be fair to compare a 5.1 audio experience with a 2.1 experience, which is what this external mic has to offer. But overall, at the end of the day, if you're looking to add better sound to something like the NEX6, there's no question that while this is pricey, there really is no other option, especially if you're looking for something relatively seamless, because that's what this is all about. No extra parts, nothing else needed. And That's what you get out of this. If you're looking to get better audio on your full frame A99, same thing applies. That's what this is going to deliver, and I think that's what a lot of people want, and that's why Sony decided to make this, because their other external microphone was not able or compatible with really any cameras other than, you know, the low-end NEX lineup. And by low-end, I'm not knocking them, but the fact of the matter is it just wasn't compatible with anything else. So now you've got an option that, if you're a Sony user, will pretty much live in your bag if you're looking to improve audio quality, and it does accomplish the goal. Again, a little bit pricey at $150 plus, but since there really are no other options out there, I think it's a pretty easy pill to swallow. So, like the performance, also keep in mind, because this is powered by the multi-shoe, it is going to, you know, battery drain a little bit. I didn't notice that much of a fall off when using it with the VG30, but that's because it has a camcorder battery. I do not expect as good performance when paired with something like the HX50V or any Cybershot for that matter, which is going to be utilizing or rather leaning on a much smaller battery than what's found in Sony's Handycam products. There, obviously, you have a much larger battery, and as a result, you're not going to really see a real-world hit from the use of this self-powered, or I should say camera-powered microphone. But overall, that's pretty much everything that you guys need to know about the ECM-XYST1M. And at the end of the day, if you're looking to improve the audio, you will get it out of this little microphone. As you notice, it does have a little bit of flex also, which I'm not in love with, but that's in order really just to accommodate the mounting process, because it does need to move a little bit. Some hot shoes are placed in positions where it needs the flexibility in order to actually get mounted. So if you guys have any questions or comments, please feel free to post them. And of course, as usual, please feel free to subscribe. Later.